Since 1984, Sawyer has existed to support your wildest adventures. Learn about their advanced insect repellents and family of technical lightweight water filters at Sawyer.com.
Welcome to Wellness in the Wilderness. Come with us on the trail of life as we inspire you to take a step outdoors, to disconnect from the distractions and reconnect with yourself. Sydney Williams and her guests will motivate you to get active and get well. Now, here is Sydney.
Welcome to Wellness in the Wilderness. I'm your host, Sydney Williams, author and founder of Hiking My Feelings, and today I am broadcasting live from the ancestral lands of the Kumeyaay people, now known as Julian, California. Whether you're an experienced outdoor enthusiast or brand new to the healing power of nature, we hope that our conversations today will inspire you to think differently about your relationship to nature and equip you with the tools, rituals, and knowledge to help you bring your best self to life, love, and work. At the very least, we hope that you'll take this time to do something kind for yourself while you listen, and that the conversations feel like a breath of fresh air. Now, about our guest today. After hiking more than 16,000 miles over a span of 20 years, Arlette Laan made history as the first woman to complete all 11 National Scenic Trails in the United States. And while that accomplishment is as sweet as her trail name, Apple Pie, perhaps the most important thing to Laan is the wellness she found in America's wilderness. After a warm-up hike on the John Muir Trail, she set out to hike the Pacific Crest Trail in 2003, committing to completing only California at first. Spoiler alert, she completed that trail, and upon returning home, one thing was perfectly clear. Life at home in the front country wasn't working for her anymore, for it was in the wilderness where she felt strong, inspired, and connected to a community and something bigger than herself. So she started to make some adjustments to her life that would empower her to spend more time on the trails, and today, her biography and resume reads like a best-of list of the long-distance hiking trails. In this episode, we'll be chatting with Arlette about how that first hike helped her find a way home to herself, how she navigated post-trail depression, the moment when she realized she could be the first woman to notch this accomplishment, and why she believes that comparison is the thief of joy. Welcome to the show, Arlette.
Hi.
Great to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Let's jump right in. How did you get started with long-distance backpacking?
So when I was 18, I discovered hiking in Switzerland. And then I moved to California quite a bit later and discovered hiking in the Sierra Nevada. And day hiking was interesting, but I always kind of felt like, what if I could just go on and not just do an out and back? What if I could explore further? And that required a backpack with gear to stay out overnight. And so I started looking into gear and what would I need to go and stay out overnight. And then kind of took it from there. So yeah, started day hiking, got the gear, and started exploring for more days on end. So that's kind of how I started. But yeah, Switzerland and the mountains, that's what kind of started that desire to keep walking further and exploring more.
Fantastic. And when we were talking before the show, you mentioned that you did a little warm-up on the John Muir Trail. For anybody that's not listening, how long is the John Muir Trail and what kind of warm-up is that like?
So that's 211 miles. So it's not as intimidating as 2,600 miles. So that was kind of like to see if I really would like to be out for more than a couple of days. And the answer was a resounding yes. I loved it. I was out, I think, for three weeks about. And just absolutely loved it. So so that was a really good distance to kind of get my feet wet and see if I liked it. And yeah, I loved it. So I figured like, well, a couple weeks, if I could do a couple months, that sounds amazing. So it was a good warm up. Yeah,
absolutely. And I am curious, was there anything on the John Muir Trail, scenery wise, community wise, just experiencing that beautiful section of the Sierra Nevada mountains? Was there anything in there in particular where you were like a moment or a vision or a specific landscape in front of your eyes where you were like, yep, I'm interested in doing this?
Well, I had done some hiking in the Sierra and absolutely loved it because it is just gorgeous. and just being out there and seeing that beauty, and then seeing an ever-changing landscape, like it's different every day. That just really appealed to me. And then, yes, you feel strong, you get in good shape, and you dial down your gear, you figure out that, oh, I can do this many miles, and kind of get that confidence that maybe I could do enough miles a day to do that Pacific Crest Trail. But there, yeah, I mean, I loved all of it. It's just so beautiful. So yeah, to be able to have that idea of seeing more, that just made it more intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think when it comes to that particular section of the country and the outdoors experiences you can have there, I don't think there's such a thing as too much of a good time. So I can certainly resonate with that. My husband and I spent a few days doing the Mineral King Loop through Sequoia Kings Canyon.
That is gorgeous.
Yeah. And, we've been on some parts of the trail, some parts of the Pacific Crest Trail in and out of our adventures. We haven't gone for the whole thing or done a section or anything, but some of the hikes that we've done either through Desolation Wilderness or down here in Southern California around Julian have taken us on there. And it's on my list. It's something I definitely am interested in doing. What helped you get onto the trail? And you mentioned that you were only committed to doing California at the beginning. So walk us through that John Muir Trail. You're like, I'm in, let's do the Pacific Crest Trail. What happened between getting done with the John Muir Trail and setting foot? I'm assuming you were going northbound on the Pacific Crest Trail.
Yes.
So walk us through like getting done with the JMT to your first steps in Campo.
So that kind of like made me think with the mileage. I was like, well, if I could do 14 on the John Muir Trail, then I could probably do, 17 on average on the PCT, and we kind of needed to do 20s in the desert. So mileage wise, that gave me that confidence. But I think just kind of saying, oh, I'm just going to do California made it maybe less, less imposing, less scary, and less big. It's like, well, right. If I could just, that's only 1,700 miles versus 2,600. So I think for me, and then also talking to other people saying like, well, I'm just going to go set out to do California. Then, then their expectations wouldn't be that I would do the whole thing. So if I just did California, that was fine. But I think secretly I just wanted to do the whole thing. But yeah, I think for myself also, it was just like, well, if I set it the goal a little bit lower, a little bit more manageable, then that might be smart. So I think that's why I set that in at first. But I mean, secretly, I'd been probably planning to do the whole thing. Probably, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe, kind of, yeah, sort of, definitely.
kind of, probably.
So what about the beginning of the Pacific Crest Trail? Where were you at? Like, I know where it starts. It starts in Campo, your first segment. You're going up towards Julian, California. Where were you at mentally? Like, how were you comparing the JMT to the first few 100 miles on the Pacific Crest Trail? What was that like for you?
I knew that I was going to have a hard time with the desert because I don't do really well in the heat. So I knew that was going to be challenging for me. So I kind of was expecting that to be hard. But then I knew that John Muir, that the Sierra was up ahead. So I knew that I had something to look forward to that I knew I was going to enjoy. So that really helped me, I think, knowing that after this hard part, there would be this reward. And that kept me going in the desert. Although in the desert, I did have some times where I was just like, oh, I don't think I want to do this. Maybe I can just like flip up and then come back down here when it's cooler. And, this is your first real long distance hike where I got blisters and all of that stuff. So the desert definitely was difficult for me. And it's about 700 miles of that hard stuff, where there's a little bit of San Jacinto's in there, which is higher up. And so then you go from really low, really hot to like that high elevation where you can barely breathe. And then you go back down to the desert floor. So that first section was definitely challenging, but I kind of knew that going in, that I would have a hard time with it. And you do learn to manage that, like having lukewarm water to drink is not the best. But then I was like, well, if I put hot cocoa powder in it, then it's like, lukewarm cocoa. That's okay. It's better than lukewarm water. So you kind of, and my feet were starting to heal up a little bit better. And so in the end, it was okay. But yeah, having done that John Muir Trail, I knew that there was something really, really good at the end of that hard desert section. So, and it is, desert is beautiful, but yeah, it's challenging. It's just so hot and exposed, and I'm just not really good with heat. So yeah, so that was different.
Yeah, I bet. And one of the things that you mentioned was this is hard, but there's something good on the way. I feel like we're coming up on life lesson number 1 for anybody that has absolutely no interest whatsoever in hiking the Pacific Crest Trail, because it sounds like too daunting, or they just don't want to, or maybe they're listening looking for inspiration that they can take from your experiences on the trail and apply them off the trail. This is why I love hiking as a metaphor for life, because it's going to suck, but then it gets good.
Right. And also, like, the thing is too, like, even in normal life, not everything is going to be wonderful. So even though you're on this amazing journey and this amazing hike, not every day is going to be wonderful. Like, you'll have to deal with shitty days sometimes, just like in life off the trail. So I had read a book before the hike that talked about that. It was Cindy Ross's Journey on the Crest. And she was very honest about it, where, she had days it was really challenging. She wasn't having a good time. I'm like, wait a minute, that actually makes sense. Like, life on and off the trail, nothing is like always amazing. So it was good to have that mindset. It's like, well, some of it's going to kind of be hard and some of it's going to be amazingly beautiful. And so that was really helpful.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, with any kind of massive undertaking, right? Like, we don't do this alone. Like, walking the Pacific Crest Trail, yes, it is your legs that is doing it, and it is your journey. And also, we get by with a little help from our friends. So tell me a little bit about the people on the Pacific Crest Trail specifically, as you were moving through California, that kept you going, kept encouraging you, and made you want to continue beyond California.
Oh, yeah. I had a friend that I started out with, which was really helpful, because it's nice to start with somebody to make it less scary. Even though she actually fainted in the desert and we kind of had to help her down, it was still, at the beginning, it was a good thing. And then further up north, I had some friends that were going to join me. And my husband at the time hiked most of the Sierra with me. And then I knew my mom was going to come up in Northern California. So these were also things to motivate me to, it's like, well, they're coming out. So even though I feel kind of lonely not right now, I know I'll have, friends to come out and help me and cheer me on. And nowadays you have social media that kind of cheers you on, which is really a wonderful part of that too. And, and other friends, you have your cell phone, you can talk to people and all of that, which I didn't have back then, But yeah, just having people along the way, and also just like random people along the way. They're like, yeah, you go, girl, stuff like that, or giving you a ride or giving you some fresh fruit. All of that stuff is really, really cool. Really, keeps you going, lifts your mood. All of the nice people, even people just picking you up, giving you a ride. Like, they don't have to do that. So the kindness of people also was a nice thing that came out of that I didn't expect. I was like, oh, wilderness, it's going to be beautiful. I'm going to be hiking. And then there's actually like the nice people aspect. I was like, wow, that's awesome. Like, humanity is actually good, for the most part. And that was really uplifting. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And I think, and it's such an important part of it, because like you said, like, the trail's amazing, then it sucks, then it's amazing again. I'm paraphrasing a Michael Franti song and making it apply to the Pacific Crest Trail. But but I think, like, what I'm hearing is that this was a very affirming journey for you, in addition to being challenging. Like, you discovered that hiking might be something you're kind of, sort of, definitely, maybe, possibly interested in Switzerland. You did the John Muir Trail. You're like, all right, let's go, buckle up. So now you're through California. Where in California did you decide to continue through Oregon and Washington to complete the Pacific Crest Trail?
I think at some point, the hardest part for me was when I had already done like 900 miles and I'm into Tuolumne, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this whole trail is so much still. And I've already been on trails so much. and there's still so much of it left. But I kind of worked through that. And at that moment, I had some friends come out, and then you just keep hiking and you're like, oh, well, I'll just keep going. And then once you're done with California, at that point, you're like, well, there's only 2 more states. Like, why not? I've already done 1,700. Why not keep going? So, yeah, that kind of was a no-brainer at that point. Like, yeah, might as well. And, I heard that Washington was gorgeous. So I was like, well, I want to see that. There's more to explore. And I've met these people on the trail that were excited and they were doing the same thing. So you get these friends and like-minded people. And then why would you quit at that point? Like, just keep going.
It sounds like at any juncture in life where, especially off the trail, if you're working a job or you're committed to a relationship or you're raising kids, like you can't just like turn around and give up. Like you just got to keep trucking. And it sounds like you did. So we'll fast forward a little bit. And before we jump to the break, so you finished the Pacific Crest Trail and now you're like, okay, what is life in the front country? I mean, you were on trail for months. So
about 5 months. Yeah.
Yeah. So after 5 months, where was your head at when you got home? Was this life in the front country still for you? Or were you like, I got to get out of here and get back on the trail?
Yeah, I just like that hike really brought me back to myself and what was important to me instead of getting lost in what other people were expecting me to be. So I knew I needed to make a change and keep living that life that felt true for me, not what other people wanted me to do. So that was a very important lesson. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Pacific Crest, for delivering that message. All right. So we're about to head off to a break. So for anybody listening, be sure to stay tuned because when we get back, we're going to talk about how Arlette started to make those adjustments. She realized after spending months in the backcountry that the front country life was not for her. It was not what she signed up for anymore. She found herself. She felt great out in the backcountry, and that's what she wanted more of. So she started to build a life that would reflect that. So make sure you stay tuned. Come back with us when we get back from the break and hear all about the different decisions that Arlette made, how that helped her shape a life that she is now living by her own design, and eventually how she ended up making history as the first woman in the world to hike all 11 National Scenic Trails in the United States. We'll be right back.
Have you ever spoken unkindly to yourself? Do you realize when you do? Are you ready to make changes, but find yourself completely paralyzed by the choices in front of you? We live in a hyper-connected, always-on world, and frankly, it's exhausting. Let's make time to disconnect from the distractions and reconnect with yourself. Hiking My Feelings exists to help people discover the healing power of nature. Kickstart your healing journey and grab a copy of the book that started our movement, Hiking My Feelings. Stepping into the healing power of nature. Named one of Audible's best hiking audiobooks and available wherever books are sold. Visit hikingmyfeelings.org today to learn more.
Sawyer is more than an outdoor company. Every Sawyer product you buy contributes to our common humanity, bringing Sawyer water filtration systems to people in need all around the world. In just 2022 alone, 260,000 households in over 45 countries received clean drinking water through Sawyer filters. Over the past 10 years, we've teamed up with over 140 charities in 80 countries to provide long-term, sustainable relief, domestically, internationally, and in disaster situations. Together, we're saving millions of lives. Thank you.
Ready to find your wellness in the wilderness? Look no further than Hiking My Feelings. Through a combination of community and self-discovery, our programs are designed to give you the space and support to connect life's dots. If you're looking to figure out who you are underneath the stories you've been given and are ready to redesign the map of where you're headed with actionable steps and opportunities to dream big, we're here to walk alongside you. Whether you're a seasoned adventure enthusiast or brand new to the healing power of nature, we've got your back. Visit hikingmyfeelings.org today to download our free Trail Thoughts worksheets and learn more about Hiking My Feelings.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You're listening to Wellness in the Wilderness with Sydney Williams. Have a question for Sydney and her guests? Join us on the show at 888-346-9141. That's 888-346-9141. Now back to the show with Sydney.
All right, welcome back to Wellness in the Wilderness. I'm Sydney Williams, and I'm here with Arlette Laan, who is the first woman to hike all 11 National Scenic Trails in the United States. And before the break, we were talking about how she started with the John Muir Trail, then she went to the Pacific Crest Trail, which was the trail that kind of did it all. It was hard and it sucked, and then it was awesome and amazing. She got by with the help of a couple friends. And upon completing the PCT, she realized that this front country life was not for her, and that she wanted to build a life that included more time for spending time on these long distance trails. Now, I did the Trans-Catalina Trail, which is not one of the National Scenic Trails. It's a 38.5 mile trail that spans across Catalina Island. I did it once in 2016, didn't finish it, and I had some unfinished business with that trail. Went back in 2018, finished the trail, and had the most life-changing experience of my life. Now, that was 6 days on a 38.5 mile trail. And I had an 11-day dark night of the soul experience, which I later found out is called post-trail depression. Arlette, you were on the trail for months. If I had an 11-day funk after 6 days on a 38.5 mile trail, did you experience anything like a post-trail depression after the PCT?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean,
can you walk us through that? Because I wish I knew you back then, girl.
Well, I was like, I didn't know anything about it either, because now at least there's some information about it, but back then, I mean, like, I didn't know nothing about it. So I felt really strong. Like, I really got in touch with my body. I felt really strong and very appreciative of my body, of what I could accomplish. I had this amazing experience where every day something was new, and I had a routine, which was nice. And then that ideal situation for me, like, I have a little bit of a routine, but then I see something cool and new every day. It's an adventure. And all I have to think about is, like, where is my next sleeping spot? And do I have enough food and water? And then I had this community of like-minded people around me. And so it was absolutely perfect for me. So then I come back home where everybody around me is having kids or is having careers. And I don't fit in. And life didn't really make sense to me that much anymore. Like people were rushing to get to places, and I'm like, why are you rushing? It didn't make sense. It's really like a culture shock in a way. And that's people that, get worked up about standing in line and having to wait and people wanting to make career. And I never really was into career making, kind of obviously making, but maybe, so I never really fit in, and now I really didn't fit in because I'd found this thing that I really loved and nobody else really seemed to understand. And you miss the movement. Like, every day I was hiking, so your endorphins are flowing, you feel healthy, you feel strong, and then you're at home in an apartment kind of boxed up. You can go for day hikes a little bit around the block, but I had no idea what was going on. I felt crappy. I missed my friends. And again, there was no social media, so it was really not that easy to stay in touch with people as much after the trail. So yeah, I did not know what was going on at that point. And my only thing that I could think of was just to do another trail at that point. So that's kind of how I skirted around that. And did the AT and did the CDT. And later on, I kind of figured out, well, like I'm still kind of figuring it out. It's just that I just need to have a job where I'm outside, and it needs to be something that's kind of part-time, where I can just go take off and be outside and come back to myself and have this time in nature, and not in civilization as much, not in society, because I don't do that well in society. I was reading a book about like highly sensitive people, and it kind of made sense where they talk about that too. Like, it's just too many impulses. It's too much going on. It's too much stress. So being in nature for me is so much better for my personality, for what works for me, just to kind of be able to center, get back to myself, and then go back out and interact with people. So I finally kind of figured out, like, I do the guiding job. I'm outside. I am with people. That helps me. Or I go on day hikes, or just go. I mean, a walk around the block doesn't work as well for me. But the other thing that I try to do is plan trips. At least then I know there's something I can look forward to, and that there is a way out. I'm not trapped. I'm not trapped in society. But it took me quite a while to kind of figure out, like, what is going on? How can I get out of this funk? And it's not an easy way to live, like making enough money and having insurance and that kind of stuff. So, but if you do have a job and a career, and you do kind of go through this depression after a hike, and you find, yourself working on a normal job in the US, I guess the way to maybe get out of that depression is to just plan weekends, because then at least maybe if you don't go on an overnight, then you are outside and you get those 2 days at least, and that one night that you can kind of get back to that sense of like calm and being outdoors and being able to kind of get back to yourself. But it's hard, and it's hard for a lot of people. And again, I had no idea what was hitting me when I got off the trail. No idea.
Yeah,
so
well, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, even just in the short trip that I did, like, it was just so shocking, because like I think, especially, like, I was born and raised in the US, and I haven't lived, like, I've traveled a lot, but I haven't lived anywhere else. And so, like, this culture is all that I know. And the family that I was raised in, and the path that was kind of laid out for me was like, get your good grades, go to school, get your job, get married, have kids, get your white picket fence and all that stuff. And like, I've never really wanted kids, so I already felt kind of weird about it. Like, I never really wanted all this other stuff, but like, in leading up to that first backpacking trip, I was just like, I had my like material markers of success, which for me was like kitchen appliances. So like, like where in my family, like, I remember the day my mom got her KitchenAid mixer, and the cookies were better from that day forward. Right. Like, and so I got my KitchenAid mixer, and I was like, yay, I can make mashed potatoes and cookies, but like, I don't do either because I don't have time. And then I got a Vitamix blender, which is like the bougiest blender I could find at the time. And I was like, I make the best smoothies. Woo. And then I was like, but something like, I don't feel fulfilled by having nice kitchen appliances. Surely there's something more. And I think when we spend enough time outside, whether it's, a weekend backpacking trip or several months doing one of these scenic trails, we have everything we need on our backs. And I love the part that you brought up about having a routine, but seeing something different every day. And full disclosure, like, I am on, we just finished our last retreat of the year in Joshua Tree National Park this weekend. I have nothing else on the calendar for the rest of the year that is a place where I need to be like physically committed. We're working on our stuff for 2023. And I'm in that space where like, I need a date on a calendar and a trip to be planned. Cause like, I woke up this morning and I told my husband, I was like, Barry, I can't find my sparkle. Like, I don't I felt this morning, not as dramatic, but a little bit akin to a little post-trail depression, because like, this was like a post really great year of retreats in the wilderness depression that I found myself in. But I love, this conversation's bringing me back to life. So thank you for being here, first of all. But also, I just, that part about having a routine but also seeing something new every day, like that there's something biologically satisfying about that, because like we have evolved technologically really fast. Like we can do everything on these little computers that live in our phones, but like as a species, we haven't evolved to be able to keep up with that stuff. And we're so separated from nature that it only becomes abundantly clear how separated we are when we go and immerse ourselves in it. So I'm curious, of all these different trails, I know some of them are like a complete and total nature immersion. And then some of them are still in development, or some of them include a lot of road walking. Have you found a difference between the two for you as far as that restorative healing power of nature? Can you get it from both, or does one serve you more than the other?
So the ones that are definitely more nature are definitely more uplifting and good for my spirit. Like I heard some other hikers say, like it feeds your spirit, you know. And the more urban ones where there's more road walking, they still make me feel like a strong and capable person. Like it still gets me in touch with my body and makes me appreciate my body for being strong and capable, and my mind for keeping and pushing. And so there's that part. There's the physical part that still works in a way that it still makes me, you know, feel good, but not so much that it feeds my spirit in a way where it's like, oh my God, look at how pretty it is. You can find it in little bits and pieces. Like you can still like walk or have a road walk where there's a big open sky and you see a gorgeous sunrise, you know. So there's still that, but it's not as immersive or as restoring as going out into the mountains where you don't see any roads. I mean, that for me it feeds my soul. So there is definitely that. After doing some of the trails where there's been a lot of road walking, I was like, okay, the next trail I'm going to do is going to have full scenery, wilderness, and I'm going to go and do that again for quite a while, because that is just, it's more rewarding in that sense. But you can still get that, like, oh my God, I am capable of doing this, which is valuable as well. But it's not as soul feeding. So it's a different experience.
Yeah, I like that distinction, soul feeding, because like I haven't done any of the National Scenic Trails, so my experience is limited to like our longest hikes were an urban hike around Chicago on the Chicago Outer Belt, which is 220 miles that goes around the city, and then hiking across the state of Michigan on a Rails to Trail project called the Great Lake to Lake Trail, and that was across like going west to east across like southern central Michigan. And even walking in a straight line in a tunnel of trees without any significant elevation gain whatsoever, I totally relate to what you're saying. Like I personally absolutely love the difficulty of higher elevations, higher like graded elevation gain, where you're like, your body's really working. Like I love being in my body that works that hard for me. And I love being surrounded by the wilderness. And also I had the best endurance after 248 miles of walking flats every single day for 17 days in a row with no zeros. Like, because you don't need a zero when you're doing like just flat walking. But I got to know, at what point in time in this journey did you get the seed planted that you were going to be interested in being the first woman to complete all 11 National Scenic Trails?
So I'd already done a whole bunch of trails, and I was, just because the season lined up, like the Florida Trail, we were looking for something to hike in winter. Like, oh, there's the Florida Trail. Might as well do that one. Otherwise it might not have been on the top of my list, just because of what I've heard from other people with how hiked it. But then I met Nibblebill Nomad, who is either the first or the second guy to do all National Scenic Trails. And he was like looking at my list of things that I'd hiked. And he's like, hey, you only need like 4 more trails. Yeah, one of them is like a 4,800 mile trail. But, it's only 4 more trails. And at the same time, a buddy of mine, Buck 30, he was also working on all 11 National Scenic Trails. So then I was like, well, I mean, that one that's really long, that doesn't sound so appealing, or it sounds very challenging. But the other three, that wouldn't be too bad. I mean, one is 1100, the other two are like 5, and another one that was 1100. And I'm like, that doesn't sound too bad. So if I get that 4800 one out of the way, then the other three, I could do that. That'd be kind of cool. And then it's kind of cool to be the first at something. You know, I'm not fast, so I can't set like an FKT unless it's one that nobody else has done. Like I had one for a while because nobody else wanted to do it or knew about it. But you know, so that kind of like was a little bit of maybe a little bit of an ego quest, but also like, well, the other trails sound kind of intriguing. Like, why not do those? And once I start looking into something, even if it doesn't immediately appeal to me, I do get that curiosity and like, well, I wonder what it's like. I wonder what that North Country Trail is like. I wonder how challenging Ohio really is. I wonder what North Dakota really is like. I've never been there, you know? So then I kind of get like that curiosity going. And at that point, I want to hike it. I want to see it. So even if other people are like, oh, it's not that great, you know, if the curiosity is there, then the seed is planted. So then you have to do it. That's how that works.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same vein. I'm like, oh, I have an idea. Well, now I got to see it through. Maybe to my demise, maybe not, but
yep, indeed.
All right. Well, before we jump to break, we are here with Arlette Laan. We're talking about the 11 National Scenic Trails that she completed. And when we get back from the break, we're going to talk about how we don't need to compare. We were just comparing. Like, we're going to take a little bit of my own medicine here. We were just comparing. We were comparing the Pacific Crest Trail to other trails. We were talking about single track versus road walking and the different benefits of each. But when we get back from the break, we're going to talk about why comparison is actually not the move here, whether it's your gear, the trails you're doing, how fast you're going or not how fast you're going.
Right.
Comparison is the thief of joy. And when we get back from the break, we are going to jump right in to talking about how we can move away from comparison and towards appreciation. We'll be right back.
Ready to find your wellness in the wilderness? Look no further than Hiking My Feelings. Through a combination of community and self-discovery, our programs are designed to give you the space and support to connect life's dots. If you're looking to figure out who you are underneath the stories you've been given and are ready to redesign the map of where you're headed with actionable steps and opportunities to dream big, we're here to walk alongside you. Whether you're a seasoned adventure enthusiast or brand new to the healing power of nature, we've got your back. Visit hikingmyfeelings.org today to download our free Trail Thoughts worksheets and learn more about Hiking My Feelings.
Sawyer is more than an outdoor company. Every Sawyer product you buy contributes to our common humanity, bringing Sawyer water filtration systems to people in need all around the world. In just 2022 alone, 260,000 households in over 45 countries received clean drinking water through Sawyer filters. Over the past 10 years, we've teamed up with over 140 charities in 80 countries to provide long-term, sustainable relief, domestically, internationally, and in disaster situations. Together, we're saving millions of lives. Thank you.
Have you ever spoken unkindly to yourself? Do you realize when you do? Are you ready to make changes, but find yourself completely paralyzed by the choices in front of you? We live in a hyper-connected, always-on world, and frankly, it's exhausting. Let's make time to disconnect from the distractions and reconnect with yourself. Hiking My Feelings exists to help people discover the healing power of nature. Kickstart your healing journey and grab a copy of the book that started our movement, Hiking My Feelings, Stepping into the Healing Power of Nature. Named one of Audible's best hiking audiobooks and available wherever books are sold. Visit hikingmyfeelings.org today to learn more.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You're listening to Wellness in the Wilderness with Sydney Williams. Have a question for Sydney and her guests? Join us on the show at 888-346-9141. That's 888-346-9141. Now back to the show with Sydney.
Welcome back to Wellness in the Wilderness. I'm Sydney Williams, and I'm here with Arlette Laan. Before the break, we were talking about the difference between road walking on some of these national scenic trails and complete immersion and the benefits for both. Spoiler alert, our preference is total immersion, both mine and Arlette's. And we were also talking about some of the things that just feel so good about spending time in the backcountry, whether that's road walking or some of the immersion stuff where you're just something new every day. You've got your routine. You wake up, you break camp, you make breakfast, and then you head out for the day. And all you're really worried about is finding water and a place to sleep and the simplicity of living life in that way. Now, Arlette, I do have a question. We're going to zip right ahead to this. P.S. Spoiler alert, everybody. We already know that she completed it. When you completed the last of these National Scenic Trails, it was the Ice Age Trail earlier this summer. What was that moment like when you finished and you were just like done? Was it this? Did you have a vision in your head of how this would feel? Did it live up to that expectation?
I don't know if I really thought about it too much. Part of it was like, because I mean, that one had a lot of road walking. The one that I had done was before that was the Natchez Trace, which was a lot of road walking. And so I kind of was glad to be done with the trails that were on that list. And not to be negative, like the Ice Age Trail, they had some really cool segments in it. But I was kind of like, now I can just pick what I want again, just based on scenery and on what I want to do. And I don't have to push miles. In the North Country Trail, I had to push miles just because it was so long. So it's like, I can just do like 15 miles a day or 10 miles a day. So there was a little bit of a freedom to be done with the list. And so that was fun. So a little bit of relief, I guess, at the end. And it also kind of made me feel proud. And then I was actually preparing for a slideshow for, about all the trails. And I'm looking through all these photo files and all these experiences. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so lucky. Like,
right.
It really, really brought home to me what an amazing, life I've had and how lucky I've been to have been able to do all of this and see all of these things. And so a lot of gratitude, and also the people along the way, especially those more urban trails, which I said earlier, like they're not my favorite, like the road walking is not my favorite, but the nice thing about that was that the people along those sections were really coming out for support and hosting me and all of that. So the Ice Age Trail was really great. North Country Trail, Michigan, and some other sections of the North Country Trail. So I had gotten a lot of new friends from that too, so a lot of gratitude really that to have been able to do all of it and to meet all these amazing people that now I'm like friends with. So a bunch of different things. I didn't really know what it was going to feel like, and I still don't really know what it feels like. But I think those were a few emotions. It was like I had a bunch of friends at the finish. It was amazing. They were there to celebrate with me, which was really, really cool. And then it's like, okay, well, now I can kind of relax a little bit, and I don't have that edge on me that I did have a little bit. It's like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to feel good about myself if I do these things. And I was like, okay, I don't have to continuously do 5-month hikes. I can do a little bit less. It's okay. I'm not missing out of life
because you've done a lot.
Yeah, but I think I always had this idea, like if I don't do a hike, then I haven't lived my life to the fullest. And so now looking back, it's like I have done enough to say I have lived life to the fullest, and I can kind of relax a little bit, but I will always want to explore and I will always want to hike. Different things for sure.
And that sounds like a really beautiful way to kind of wrap this up with a bow as far as comparison and appreciation. I know one of the things you're really passionate about is the fact that you don't have to be in your 20s and stick skinny to enjoy these kinds of experiences. So talk to me a little bit about the appreciation that you gain for your body through these experiences.
Oh, yes. I mean, like, definitely that Pacific Crest Trail, like, I wasn't, I'm not your ideal body size if you go, look at the media. Luckily, it's changing some. But, like, I have extra weight on me. That's just, it's my build, and I don't like to starve myself. I like to enjoy life. And as long as I'm able to do the things I want to do, then I'm not going to worry too much about it. But the hiking really made me appreciate, like, my strength. My knees are not beautiful. That's okay, because I haven't had any knee problems on the downhills, on all these hikes. So comparing the way I look to other people that, might look ideal, like, it doesn't matter. Like, as long as I can do what I want to do and my body serves me well, then that's okay. I want to lose a little bit of weight right now because I don't fit my clothes, but that's a different story. Right. I can do what I want to do with my body. It serves me well. I shouldn't look at and compare or be compared, because there are still people on the internet that are like, hey, well, there must have been a really good restaurants along the way. I'm like, actually, there weren't. But, why focus on that? Like, actually, I was resupplying out of the Family Dollar store. Hey, but, so it really made me appreciate what I have. And I still, like, it's hard not to focus on looks and stuff like that. Or I still, like, catch myself looking at some of the ads, and I see, like, this girl that has the short, like, black, shorts on and the desert shirt. And I was like, oh, that's what a thru hiker is supposed to look like. And I'm like, what? Like, why do I still think this? But we're conditioned. Right? We're kind of conditioned that was like, that's what a long distance hiker looks like. And I don't look like that. And I've hiked lots of long distances. Like, what is up with that?
Yeah. It's kind of a mind warp when you think about, like, your accomplishments and the things you've done outside of the 11 National Scenic Trails. I mean, I've seen your list of accomplishments through the White Mountains in New Hampshire and everything else. Like, you, P.S. I got a hiker's body because I'm a hiker. Hey.
Right? But isn't that funny though? Like, you look at that and you're like, oh, wait a minute. I probably had more than they have. But it's you're so warped. So it's that thing. And also and this is still something I'm working on still, is comparing myself to other hikers' speeds and mileages. And it's like, if I want to hike 15 miles, or if I feel good about doing 17 or 20, then that's fine. I don't have to do 30 just to feel cool. Like, I really hardly ever do 30s. But, it's like that comparison thing. It's like, no, it doesn't matter if somebody passes me uphill. We'll all get there at some point. Like, but it's that kind of that competition comparison kind of thing where you're like, oh, I'm not good enough. And like, no, it doesn't matter. As long as you get where you want to go, then that's good enough. Right?
Yes. Oh my God. Round of applause. I had sound effects for that.
But yeah, so that's really what the hiking has really helped me with. Is like, I'm good enough. I can do what I want to do. And it doesn't matter if I hike this trail in X amount of days and do 30 or 35. No, it doesn't matter. That's not what's important to me, So that's been a really good lesson that I've gotten out of it. And that's been very important.
It's such a good one. And I think too, like, that's everything. And there's so many ways to live a life, and there's so many ways to hike a hike. And, we hear hike your own hike on the trail and off the trail. That is true too. Like, there are so many different ways that we can enjoy this experience in this body on this planet for the blip of time that we are here. And Arlette, it sounds like you certainly have found a way to do that for yourself. And I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to hear some of your stories. One other thing that I did want to talk about, because like literally nothing about completing one of these trails, let alone 11 National Scenic Trails, is easy, but it can be easier, air quotes, with the right gear. And I know that you are a Gossamer Gear ambassador, and we have Sarah from Gossamer Gear here. Tell me a little bit about how you landed on Gossamer as your gear of choice towards the end of this journey.
So when I first started, there was like not a whole lot of lightweight gear. So I started with whatever I had read that was like one of the best packs. And so I started with that. It wasn't like amazing. Tried a few other packs along the way. Some of them didn't fit all that well. And because it is kind of a personal thing too, like, fit and do you want pockets? Do you not want pockets? All of that stuff. And then I found with Gossamer Gear, like, I love the pockets. They fit well. You can get custom hip belts. And then there's different sizes too. Like for my winter hikes, I got one of their bigger ones with like a really good frame sheet. And like, if I want to go on a summer hike now, I have the luxury of having a whole line of their packs because they've been so kind to me. But I can go, I can go with the 35-liter one and jam everything in there. And then I have the little tent that they have. And it's like, just, like it's a pound. And I can fit that in a side pocket, and it allows me to be lightweight. I'm never going to be super ultra lightweight because I like to be comfortable. And I kind of sleep a little cold, so I have to have a bit of a heavier bag. But so that's how I kind of like, I tried a few things, and then these packs fit me really well, and I like their features, pockets, I like the hip belts, all of that stuff. So the tent, trekking poles, all of that stuff. So I've been very lucky to have them as a sponsor to help me with the gear. And I wear out a lot of gear. So, you wear out a lot of gear, you need new gear.
Absolutely. And Sarah from Gossamer, rumor has it you guys have like a really awesome sale going on for the holidays. You want to tell us a little bit about that before we close the show?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks again, Sydney, for having us on, and Arlette for being an amazing representative of our brand. So right now we are having our biggest sale of the year with up to 40% off of savings on, like Arlette was saying, some of the best ultralight gear on the market. There's only 1 week left of the sale, so make sure you check it out at our website at gossamergear.com. And thanks again to Arlette and Sydney.
Thank you so much. Well,
thank you.
This has been such a treat. And Arlette, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Wellness in the Wilderness. Next week, we'll be chatting with Natalie Small, founder of Groundswell Surf Therapy in San Diego, California. She is helping helping women find sisterhood and community and balance on and off the water. And we're really looking forward to that discussion. Make sure you follow Arlette on Instagram, Arlette Laan, and we'll have all of her contact information in the show notes for you. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's dose of Wellness in the Wilderness. I sincerely hope that today's conversation was a breath of fresh air. And I look forward to connecting with you again next Tuesday at 1:00 p.m. Pacific on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Until next week, take good care of yourself, take good care of each other, dream big, and be kind. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us on this week's show. We hope this episode has been a breath of fresh air for you and has inspired you to find your wellness in the wilderness. We will reconnect with nature and you again next week.
Since 1984, Sawyer has existed to support your wildest adventures. Learn about their advanced insect repellents and family of technical lightweight water filters at Sawyer.com.